to hear that.
All
Um,
right, let's see.
um,
You up? Okay, I think we're ready. Are you
ready.
ready?
I'm ready as I'm ever gonna be.
All right. So I'm excited for this. This is our first time back in
Been a
a
while.
couple
It's
months, I
it's been a
think.
while. Yeah, it's been at least a month and a half. At least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been a
So
while.
we're doing movie reviews and now we've kind of branched out into something different, right?
Yeah, you gotta keep it fresh. You gotta keep it fresh.
Right. So I guess it's conspiracy theories. That's
Sort
kind
of.
of
I
it
mean,
was something that I think you threw out in one of our movie streams
y-
as something that would be interesting to talk about,
I do
and
think. Yeah,
here
I
we are.
think. I don't necessarily put stock into conspiracy theories, but I do find them interesting to kind of ponder a little bit and kind of think about it. Like, why would the what could the rationale be for this line of thinking, sort of thing.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with any of them. I have my own beliefs on stuff that is would be considered a conspiracy theory, um, but that's neither here nor there. So,
Yeah, I would say I'm kind of in the same boat. I think that conspiracy theories are interesting and they can even be fun. I mean, to kind of think about, like, could something actually happen this way, or does this thing actually exist?
exactly.
But I would say for the most part that I can't say that there is definitely a conspiracy theory I myself like subscribe to or believe in.
Mhm.
But there are definitely conspiracy theories that I think are just fun or interesting.
Yeah, and there's definitely a difference. Let's start this with there's definitely a difference between conspiracy theories that are just so off the wall that now I'm not putting anybody down if you believe this, but there are some, and you have to admit there are some conspiracy theories that are super out there. Like you have to go down a certain rabbit hole for a long time to get to that conclusion. Um, but then
Yeah,
there are
or
other
or
ones.
make yeah.
Go ahead.
Or make you're making like a lot of assumptions to get to a certain point.
Yeah, or you're like cherry picking details. Like, well, if you look
Yeah.
at it this way, well, of course, if you look at it that way, like, um, but then there's other conspiracy theories that are like, okay, I can kind of see this rationale. I can kind of see this line of thinking and how they maybe got to this conclusion, but I still don't necessarily believe it. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like that's kind of what I want to talk about are the ones that are like they could be possible, but not necessarily like I believe them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it does. And
Okay.
so since this is our first stream, our you know, first shot at conspiracy theory discussion,
Yes.
I think I just want to go ahead and throw out that we are in no way experts
No.
on these theories. And
Yes.
kind of just like we mentioned, they're ideas that we find fun or interesting. And, we just kind of want to shed some light on some of these theories,
Mhm.
create discussion around them. And we're always open to input or thoughts from you guys on anything that we talk about. Um, so feel free to chime in, but we are not experts on this,
Yeah, and
so a lot
absolutely.
of it's opinion.
A lot of it's opinion based, and also if you find something interesting, do yourself a favor and like look into it. Like do your own research, because what I can find for some of these conspiracy theories isn't necessarily what you might find. Like so it might not resonate well with you. Um,
Yeah.
so definitely, like if you're interested in this stuff, look into it. Not necessarily that you have to believe it or subscribe to it, just like I am. But honestly, like if you find it interesting, do the research, look into it. It'll open up a brand new world for you. I promise.
Yeah, and if you guys find any interesting facts or tidbits that you think we would find interesting, definitely send it to us if there's something that we didn't cover, or something that you discovered in your own research, I mean, I would definitely be interested in taking a look at that as well.
Absolutely. And I just want to plug this real quick. We do have an email set up for stuff like that. You know, if you want to reach out to us and talk to us about something, or maybe find some information, like find some of the resources that we found for these things, it's just tinbiscuitreviews@gmail.com. Simple
Yep.
as that.
All right. Well, do you have any other information you'd like to bestow on our viewers, or are you ready to dive into our first theory?
Well, I do want to say we do have the Tin Biscuit reviews podcast up now, where
Mm-hmm.
we take, basically I just take the audio from our live stream. So in case you miss it, you know, or if you just want to listen to our sultry voices uh, while you drive, it's a great thing to have. You know, if you're going on a long drive, put it on your phone, boom, you're done. But that's just Tin Biscuit reviews. It's on everything: iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. So, you know, they're there for your guys' consumption if you so choose.
And we have one viewer, Jensen, who said he's already started listening to them.
Well, you know what?
So,
I appreciate it.
so Jensen, I hope that you enjoy all of our movie reviews,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we can dive into something new and exciting with these conspiracy theories.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm nervous, but I'm
Um,
excited.
yes. All right. Well, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. All right. So we're talking about the missing 411 cases. It's uh, basically what it is a group of missing people, and when I say group, I mean like over 1,200 cases of missing people in the Canada and North America. So Canada and the U.S. Um, there are, as last I read, there was over 34 clusters of people, which is three or more people within like a 70-mile range of each other or something like that. Like they're all like in a circle. Um, 34 clusters, over 1,200 people missing, and they all fit really weird criteria, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, so, do you want to talk about a few of the things that make it a missing 411 case?
I can.
I I can do it if you don't want to.
Well, why don't you cover that? But I also just want to say that this is just to give a little bit of background on these cases. So the man who kind of discovered these similarities that are case similarities that Tin Man will kind of talk about in a minute is David Paulides. And so he was a cop for what, 18 years.
Hmm.
And I guess after he retired, or I can't remember exactly how he kind of fell into this, but he started going through all of these cases of missing people, specifically in national forests or national parks. Sort of started piecing all of this data together from what he found in the cases,
Hmm.
and started creating these clusters, which I put the link to the cluster map in my
I'm gonna
chat.
steal that, by the way.
Yeah. But these are the clusters that he found through his research. He wrote 2 books on it. There's a recent movie.
There's a lot more than 2 books.
Okay.
There's like 13 or 14.
Oh, that he wrote?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, there's 13 or 14 books that
There's a
he
lot of
wrote about
books.
this. It's kind of like his bread and butter.
Yeah.
But so basically, this theory kind of it originated from this man, and he's the one who's been spreading information about it, I guess, through his books, and he's been on numerous interviews, talk shows, podcasts. Um, so he has a lot of information and insight, but this is all data that he's collected and sorted through.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Um, so let's get into what the quote unquote victim profile is, right? So they don't have to fit all of these criteria. It's just like when you get enough of these in the same amount of cases, it constitutes as a missing 411 case. So um, typically they usually go missing around national parks, large bodies of water, or boulder fields. Um, they go missing. The people that go missing are from typically both ends of the intellectual spectrum. So it's high intelligence people and also people that have like learning disabilities and stuff. Um, so no one's really safe basically. Um, Sometimes they have physical disabilities, whether that's a heart condition, a bum leg, uh, anything like that, or they're just perfectly fit for their age. It doesn't matter. Um, they don't remember anything that happened, why they went missing, what they were doing. They can't tell you how they got where they ended up. Can't tell you anything. Um, if they're found dead, the cause of death is never truly determined. They'll give reasons. The medical examiners will give reasons, but it doesn't make sense for what the the body looks like. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the generic term they give the dead bodies is just that they died of exposure,
Yeah.
but then that doesn't really cover, I guess, the variety of deaths that have occurred.
Right. Um,
It's like a
Also,
catch-all term.
yeah, it's basically just like they don't know what did it, so they're just gonna say it's exposure. Basically, it can encompass any number of oddities. Um, so another one, um, they're found in areas that are difficult or impossible to reach by foot, or in the time that has elapsed since they were like missing, since they went missing. So it could be like 2 to 3 hours later, and they're found 12 miles away. Um, like their body is like 12 miles away from where they started. Something weird like that. Um, Search and rescue teams will go over the same area for weeks, months at a time, and they don't find anything. And then all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, they find something. They find the body, or they find something that belonged to this person. Um, let's see, the shoes is a big one. They often go missing with like they're wearing shoes, obviously, because they're in a national park hiking or something, and then they're found without shoes on, but they don't have anything wrong with their socks. There's nothing wrong with the soles of their feet. They're not tore up or anything. Uh, so that's another weird one. Search and rescue dogs usually don't find a scent. Um, they either don't find a scent or they'll follow it for a few feet, 100 feet, and then they just start acting weird. They sit down, they circle in the same spot, they turn around. It's almost like they don't like they just don't know what to do. Um, and that's pretty much the general gist of the what constitutes a missing 411 case.
Yeah, so there's a lot of variety and not all of the cases fit all of the criteria. But there's just it's just kind of strange occurrences or happenstances where it's something curious. Maybe they don't know what happened. Maybe, you know, it's just weird things, I guess, that
Yeah,
then there seems to be a pattern
yeah. I would.
of these things happening.
I mean, I'm not like I said. I'm not an expert, but you and I both know that I've been on a deep dive on this stuff for like the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So sponging up every piece of information I could. Um, and it almost seems like there should be another one added in there where the the they'll give like a cause of death, but the cause of death just doesn't make sense. Like it'll be like a mountain lion killed him, right? But
Mhm.
like the clothes, there's no scratch marks, there's no bite marks, there's no blood, there's no, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
that's one of the weird things to me is that it's almost like it could very well be that they're making it out to be more mysterious than it actually is, meaning the people that are investigating these cases,
Mhm.
David Politis and whatnot. But it also it makes it seem like they have something to hide. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I was gonna say there's a couple of key points to this conspiracy, I think. And the first one is the government cover up of information, because that
Yes.
seems to be a big component of this is, well, when asked for information on missing person cases, um, the parks just say that that's not information that they keep track of, or they're kind of elusive about the information that they give about those cases.
Right.
So that I think that's the first big component, and then the second component is, or maybe not a component of the conspiracy, but I think that something that's interesting is David Politis is he came out with all of this information, but he is very careful about what he says he thinks the cause is.
Hmm.
And in fact, I don't think he's actually come out and said that it's one thing or another.
Not that
I
I've
think
read. Not that
I
I've
think
read or
that he's
listened to.
very purposefully vague about what he thinks it is.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that just leaves room for a lot of interpretation on this data because it's kind of like, well, is it paranormal? Is it, uh, you know, supernatural? is
Right.
it is it cryptid related? Is it like Bigfoot or some other creature? Like, so, or is it just weird acts of God? Like, I don't know. Like, it. So the room for interpretation on what exactly this data means
Right.
is very wide.
Right. And I think that I don't know for certain, but I feel like part of the reason Mr. Politis is so vague about what he thinks it is so let's say you have a missing child, right? A missing 3-year-old child that got lost in the mountains.
Mhm.
Now, how would you feel if the only person willing to listen to you was like, yeah, it's Bigfoot. Like, yeah, it's a government
Yeah,
cover up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it almost seems like that would, to me as a father, that would be like a slap in the face. Like, I'm out here looking for my kid, you're telling me it's Bigfoot taking him off in the woods, you know?
yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason that he's vague. However, on the flip side of that, I also think that he's vague so that you can kind of like let your mind wander. Like, oh man, like what could this be? If the guy that does like he does all the information, he does all the investigating, if he doesn't even know what it is, what could it be? It could be Bigfoot. It could be a government cover up. It could be all these different things. And I think then that sells books.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I mentioned that it's his bread and butter at the beginning of this, I mean, this is pretty much like his job right now.
Right.
He gets booked to talk about it. He, writes these books and sells a bunch of copies.
Right.
So that's something that's interesting that I kind of came upon. Um, Sort of, I guess, naysayers of his books and his information have kind of stated, well, he's kind of got like a shady, not shady past, but like the things that he's been involved in. He's like part of the National Bigfoot Society, or
Hmm.
like he's like an avid cryptozoologist, and he does make a lot of money off of these books.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I kind of started to wonder, I mean, myself, right?
Hmm.
Is I don't know. I mean, I would hate to say that he's just doing this for money because, like you said, you're talking about people who have lost children, who have lost family members,
Hmm.
and you're profiting off of that.
Yeah.
Um, but it is, I don't know. It's something to keep in mind, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the important thing is that okay, I don't know what Mr. Politis does with the money that he gets, for uh from these books and stuff. And so, uh, if he's okay, so in a lot of the interviews that you listen to him, he talks about how he's asked like the national park registration and stuff if if they kept a list of all the people that went missing, and they're like, no, we don't keep that list, right? That's weird to me. That's weird. Why would you not keep a list? Anyways, so they don't keep a list, and he's like, okay, well, what would it take to get a list of the people that are missing? And they tell him, oh, that's like $34,000. And then they say, he's like, no, okay, well, what would it take to get it across the country? And they say $1.4 million. Now, if he were to take his profits, or even just some of them, and kind of help to build that registry, you know what I mean? Like, just to keep the word out about, hey, this person's been missing for 10 months. Nothing's been found, no body, no clothes, no nothing.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out, if that were the case, I think I would probably feel a little bit better about it. But I do see your point. Like, he's profiting, excuse me, off of
daddy to man.
off of these people, missing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so maybe you might have more insight into this, because I do know that, and I'm on their website now, but the National Park Service does have a site dedicated to cold cases with missing person information. So maybe I just missed it, but I know that in the movie, the documentaries, everything, he was talking about how the parks don't have, I don't know if it's maybe just missing person records, or do you know exactly what he was talking about when he was asking the parks for that information? Because I'm confused, but I'm confused about what is currently on the national park site for cold cases and what information he was specifically looking for.
Okay, so let's see. This was on an interview of Coast to Coast AM. So, do you know what Coast to Coast AM is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, this is going to tell you all you really need to know. Coast to Coast
Okay.
AM. Coast to Coast AM is a radio show, right? And it's hosted by a bunch of different people: George Knapp, George Norrie. Anyways, if you look this stuff up, you find some of the most out there people, right?
Okay.
It's all about conspiracy theories and cryptids and aliens and stuff like that. It's awesome. It's great to listen to if you're up that late, because it doesn't start till like midnight.
Okay.
But anyway, so this was on a coast to coast interview. I actually I sent you the link, I think, a while back. But he was talking about how the national parks don't keep a record of the missing people that go missing in their parks. They don't tell you like where they were or what they were doing, anything about that. However, that could be old, because some of these interviews are from 2012 at the earliest. So that could have just been an old one, and since then they have done that.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like I said,
some of these, let's see.
I don't know.
Some of these go back to, like, it's not a huge list, which is the weird part. The last one goes back to like 1969.
Can you send me that link, please?
Yeah.
You can just put it in your chat. That's
fine. But
Thank you.
there aren't a lot of people, which is strange, and I can't. And the most recent one was from 2017. So I don't, maybe it's about what they classify as a cold case, and maybe that's the discrepancy.
I think, maybe the issue is that these people, because these have yet to be solved and have no active leads. So sometimes, though, with these missing 411 cases, they do find remains or the body, but it just doesn't make sense. So maybe,
or they find the actual person, right? Because
or
some
they
of the
find
411 cases, some of the people or children are actually found.
Absolutely, they do actually find them sometimes. It's rare, I mean, I don't know what rare is in a 1200 plus case, uh, setup, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that means five or if that means, 500.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but yes, there are some that are found, and like I said, they usually don't have any recollection of what happened, how they got where they are, anything that happened in between. So
Mhm.
they're no help.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. It's interesting too, in the interviews that I listened to, he seemed to focus a lot on the cases of the children.
Hmm.
I don't know if you came across that. Like I didn't, maybe it's just the shows I listened to. But like less focus was put on the adults and it was more about children who had
Well,
disappeared.
okay, so did you know the FBI does not investigate adult missing people?
Oh, really?
Did you know that? No. Okay,
Mm-mm.
so the FBI does not investigate adult missing persons cases. And they
But
very
they
what?
but they do investigate children or
They
no?
very rarely investigate children.
Okay.
Only under like they have to fall into certain criteria for the FBI to get brought in to look at these missing children.
Right.
So then you're left with just the parent and local police to find these kids. Now, it's a lot harder for the police to get involved in a missing adult case because a lot of states don't even do it. A lot of states won't do it. If you say, "Hey, my buddy, he went, I haven't seen him since yesterday. He's not answering his phone. He's not blah blah blah," they won't investigate because he's an adult because
Yeah.
he can do whatever he wants. He's free to do what he wants.
Right.
Children are a whole different ball game. I think that's probably why he does that. Um,
Okay.
in the interviews that I listen to, it's more the majority of the interviews that I listen to. I tend to focus more on the stuff that has to do with the weirdness behind how the people are found, or the weirdness that the um, local police will give to Mr. Politis. So just saying, oh
Mhm.
yeah, it's a mountain lion attack. Well, there's no mountain lions in the area, so
Right.
you know, like something like that. But I do notice that he does focus. He does talk about an awful lot about one case, which is actually a pretty famous case, um,
Mhm.
in regards, which is Jared Jared. I can't pronounce his last name. I know I'm gonna butcher it, but if you have done any listening, you've probably heard about it. Jared Adadero, I think that's how you
Mhm.
say it. Have you heard about this one?
No, I just looked it up.
Okay. Well, he does talk about that one an awful lot, and I get it because it's pretty much like this is your quintessential missing persons, missing 411 case. Um,
Yeah.
but you're absolutely 100% correct. He does talk an awful lot about children, but I think the the books are all like themed, and the movies are too. If you get a chance, the first movie's on Hulu. The second movie, I believe, is on Amazon Video, or whatever it is, Amazon Prime Video.
Mhm.
And the second one focuses on hunters that went missing, adult hunters that went missing in the woods and stuff. And that one's really interesting too. If you get a chance, guys, definitely check that one out. Like if this stuff interests you, definitely check the second one out. The first one's not that great, but
So that's the one I was interested in was the based one.
yeah,
So that's a
that's
movie?
that's the one I sent you a couple days ago or whatever. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
movie.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's the
'Cause
second movie.
there's one on Hulu, which is just the missing 411. I
Yeah,
guess that was maybe the first one.
that's the first one. Yeah, and that's the one that focuses. It actually talks about the Jared Adadero case in
Mhm.
there, which is good because they spend a good chunk of it on that, but then they talk about um, I can't remember the kid's name, but it's a little like 2 year old kid, and he went missing. Now, if you like look into that case, it does not fit the profile of a missing
Mhm.
411 case. It actually looks more like the Casey Anthony trial case,
Mm.
which is
Okay.
really unfortunate because there are a lot of people out there that believe that the parents just killed their kid and got away with it. Um,
Yeah.
but either way, the first one's pretty. The first one's okay. The I think the minor cases that it talks about, it'll like because it focuses mainly on the Jared Adedero case, and then the other one, um, and in between like flashing back and forth between those, it talks about a few other small cases that also are considered missing 411 cases, and I think they're kind of more interesting than the other two. Not that the Jared one's not, but
Mhm.
I guess maybe because there's very little information that they give. Um, but there's one where it's like, oh, this kid ran. They got out of the car to stretch while they were on a long road trip. The kid ran off because he had a mental disability. He ran off over the hill and he was just gone, never seen again, just gone. Like I
Mm.
mean, a stone's throw away and he's just gone. Um,
Yeah.
that stuff's really, I think that's really interesting and creepy. But
A little bit. Yeah.
oh.
Interesting. So, I don't know. I feel like as far as conspiracy theories go, I had a little bit of trouble, I guess not that I like we said in the beginning, not that we like fully believe or buy into any of these theories
Mhm.
necessarily, but I just there's something about this one that I just found like harder to believe. And
Okay.
I think that it probably has to do with just the data that's presented. So I think that the criteria for the disappearances, like some of them are kind of strange,
Hmm.
but like in my mind, I'm wondering if they actually constitute like I don't know, like is it an actual pattern? Is it I feel like there are so many variables
Hmm.
in this theory that it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And it's kind of that and the fact that so there's 1,200 of these. And I can't remember, did Politis track these from did he say, like, from the 1800s,
Something
or
like
is
that.
that
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
yeah.
He
So if
doesn't really
it's
talk about the ones that old, but I kind of wish he would. I think those would be pretty interesting to hear about, just like the creepiness about them. But
yeah,
what do
so
I know?
even so the national parks were established in 19 when was it? 1916? I think it was 1916. Yeah, so even if you consider that the parks were established in 1916, you can say roughly 100 years ago.
Hmm.
Even if you're counting those 1,200 cases within that 100-year time span, that's what 120 missing cases a year.
Yes.
And I don't know what the attendance numbers to national parks were back in the day,
Hmm.
but I know that as of 2018, 330 million people, not
Every
sorry, not
year.
people, 330, that wasn't people, it was 330 million visits a year. So not
Okay.
necessarily individual people, but that's 330 million visits across all of the United States parks.
Okay.
So, like, if you try to fold in that 120 people a year to
Hmm.
that 330 million like visit number,
Yeah.
you're starting to play with like really low percentage calculations. So
Right.
I think that's why it's hard for me is just the sheer number of people who visit compared to the actual number of cases.
Right.
And so I don't know. That was my personal opinion on this conspiracy. I don't know how you felt about it.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Okay, so like I said, I don't believe in any of this stuff. Not necessarily that I don't believe in it. Obviously, it's happening. I have to believe in it. Um,
Right.
but like, I'm not necessarily going to say that, oh, it's a Bigfoot or a forest spirit or something out there is taking these people and dropping them out of the sky onto a cliff 500 feet above. What
Yeah.
I see what you're saying with the, it seems like just a drop in the bucket. Like, why are we
Yeah.
concerned with, not necessarily why are we concerned, but like I'm sure you could find a pattern if you're looking for a pattern. Does that make sense? If
Yeah, like over a 100-year span.
Yeah,
I was thinking of it like if you took all the murders in New York over the past 100 years, like could you find like a pattern in some of them?
absolutely.
Could you find clusters of similar
Absolutely.
cases?
Absolutely. Even if you just did it
Yeah.
across the United States. If you did it across the
Yeah.
United States, you could find clusters and it could be for anything. It could be for literally anything. Because we
Yeah.
as humans look for patterns and stuff. We look for
Mhm.
things that make sense to us, that we can easily comprehend. It makes sense. You're looking for a pattern, you say, okay, well, I have these 12 criteria, um, or however many there are, But
Mhm.
you say, I have these criteria, and let's see what you start throwing dartboards at a, at a dart. You start throwing darts at a dartboard, something's going to stick. So eventually you're going to find that pattern. Um, so I see what you're saying. However, in my opinion, I can't get over how weird some of these cases are. Not to
Sure.
say that it's something out there that's taking these people. I just find it weird,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
especially the ones that actually come back, the ones that actually aren't dead, they're not decomposed, they're not lost forever, they're
Mhm.
found and they're come back. The ones that actually do say something, they're the weirdest ones. They're saying they followed a dog that no one else saw and they followed it deeper into the woods and by the next time they knew it was dark and they were lost. Or
Yeah.
they heard someone calling their name from deeper in the forest and it was someone that shouldn't have been there, a loved one from across the country, a dead relative calling
Yeah.
you deeper into the woods. That's creepy as shit. That gives like
Yeah.
that makes me nervous as hell to go into the woods. Not gonna lie, it does. But I think that is what I love most about learning about this stuff is that it's creepy. It
Mhm.
When you look into it, if you kind of like block off everything else, shut down your senses on, well, this could be easily explained, this could be easily explained. It's creepy. It is really weird that this is going on, and up until now, I didn't know about it, you know, because like you said
Yeah.
though, but it's 120 people a year. That's nothing. That's nothing. So
Yeah, it's yeah, I think that if you analyze and look at the individual cases, especially some of the weirder ones, they do get pretty weird. Like they get really strange.
yeah,
And it's yeah, it is creepy. It's very creepy. I want to look into the Hunter um movie that you were talking about,
definitely
but
do.
I was reading up on uh, I guess I was probably on Reddit, but posts made by like other hunters or like people who
Hmm.
have been in the woods for long periods of time. And this was in response to, all the 411 hubbub. But I mean, there were people who commented and said that yeah, they've been in the woods and they've heard a relative or a loved one like their voice. And I guess they were kind of comparing it to, as an adult, and I guess that's where I was coming in with Politis and how he talked about kids a lot, like mostly the kids.
Hmm.
Where like if you're an adult in the middle of the woods and you hear the voice of your brother who is like in a different country, like
Right,
you know what I mean, or like that he's not supposed to be there, then that would be really freaky. That would be super scary.
right,
Whereas if you're a kid and you hear like your mom's voice or like a voice you recognize, I
right.
think they were kind of like alluding to the fact that maybe some of these people are like lured into the forest by something, you know, like we said, whether it's supernatural or, alien in nature. Um, I think that it was just people who said that they had had similar experiences.
Yeah, and they
So it was very interesting.
yeah, and then another experience that's really apparently really common amongst these cases, and people that like you said on Reddit that have had these experiences themselves, is that everything goes quiet. You know, the entire woods is like silent, and if you've ever been in the woods, that's very rare for there not to be anything, not wind blowing by the trees, leaves rustling, twigs snapping, animals, insects. That's that's the weird thing. It's just
Yeah.
like you're being stuck in a vacuum, and that that's another like one of those like I said, a weird occurrence that some of these cases share, and that stuff is what kind of drew me to this. Um, and then I kind of got, like I said, I went down a deep dive on this stuff. It's been all I've consuming for the past like 2 weeks since we decided we were gonna do it. Um,
Yeah.
but I think, yeah, like you said, like when you look at the weird stuff, it's really interesting to think about like, well, what could it be? And that takes us back to Mr. Politis and him being vague about what he thinks it is.
Yeah.
Lets your mind wander and you kind of just do your own deductive reasoning and go from there.
hmm Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It's part of me like is interested in the fact that it could be something like paranormal or alien. But then on the other hand, like, I don't know, it's just the world is wide and vast. And I mean, there's natural phenomenon that we still don't understand or know much about. And so it's kind of, it's also interesting to me to think of that being a possibility. Like,
Hmm.
is this just something that somehow happens or occurs naturally? And I don't know.
Absolutely. It
Some,
it
I don't
100% could
know.
be. It 100% could be. Think about it, all right? Think about it. So someone's walking in the woods, right? They're following a trail, and it's like you and two buddies, right? You're following a trail. They sit down to stop. You're like, oh, I'm gonna keep going for a little bit, scout ahead, and a sinkhole opens up. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Or like some kind of landslide, and
Yeah.
it just opens up the ground. It swallows you whole, and then that's the thing is some of those natural phenomenons that happen that we see not all the time. They're kind of rare, at least in my neck of the woods they are, but you see them happen on the news and stuff of the ground opening up and swallowing these people whole or whole cars or something, and
Yeah.
then it goes back like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
What's to say that's not happening? I mean, it very well could be something like that, and I really honestly I hope that's what it is. I really don't want to think about some weird demonic forest spirit in the woods calling luring people to their death. Think of the siren from Greek mythology.
Right, right.
I don't want that.
But I mean, there's also like, I don't know, are these areas of high magnetic activity, and is that influencing like stuff in nature? Or I don't there's something else that I saw recently where I don't know if you've seen the video of this, but it looks like like the earth is breathing, like the ground and the trees will like rise up
I have
and
seen
like
that, and it's
these like,
terrifying.
yeah, but also totally natural, like
Yeah, it's still
but
terrifying.
it's so weird. It's terrifying and really weird
Yeah,
because it's not something that you see on a normal basis. So I mean, I think that the real explainable world can also be creepy and terrifying.
yeah, absolutely.
But then there's also the possibility of, I mean, there is also the unknown. Like, maybe there aren't any patterns, or there isn't anything natural that can be measured in these areas, and this is still just happening.
Yeah.
And maybe it is a forest spirit that's luring us to our death. I don't know.
Well, I don't go to the woods, so I'm good.
But yeah.
I'm good. But I mean, I don't know. I think that Some of it can probably be explained away as just you're just cherry picking, like looking too hard for a pattern, looking too hard for there to be a case. I think some of it is beyond comprehension. Some of the stories that have come back. Um,
Mhm.
I think that the missing 411 subreddit is fascinating, especially
Oh
the
yeah.
experiences tag. If they have the flair that
Mhm.
they've experienced something, those are terrifying. Now, how much of that? Since I'm assuming we all know what Reddit is, and the people that peruse Reddit, how much of that is them actually experiencing stuff, and how much of it is them just being a really good storyteller. Um,
Yeah.
Either way, they pose it in such a way that it makes my hair stand on end. Um, so I don't know.
Yeah. There are some really good storytellers out there. But I will say that yes, that subreddit is has lots of good information. Whether or not it's true, who's to say, but a lot of compelling stories and experiences for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Um, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of covered David Paulides, the clusters, the criteria. I said my piece about the data
Mm-hmm.
and reasons I kind of personally find it hard to believe. But regardless of that, like you said, the individual stories are very creepy. Um, I mean, they are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I just would like to reiterate, if this stuff interests you and you would like to learn more about it, there is a website, canammissing.com, I think, right? I'll post the link.
Let's see.
Um,
Yeah, missing project.
that's actually the actual, um, yeah, you got it. That's the
Oh, it is.
actual thing, the actual page for the project itself that focuses on these cases. Um, Also, there are the two movies. Missing 411 is on Netflix, or not Netflix, Hulu.
Hulu.
And like I
Yeah.
said, the second one is the Missing 411 The Hunted, and that one I believe is on Amazon Prime Video. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
Yeah, Amazon, yes.
Okay, I think it's on there. Um, if not, there on that Can-Am Missing, I believe there's links to all of the books that you can find. And apparently, now this is like a little off topic, but apparently, according to Mr. Politis, if you only listen to the interviews and watch the movies, you're getting like 1% of the cases, like the weird cases. Um, like those are
So
just
you have to buy his books? Is that what he's saying?
basically because there's like, well, because apparently I haven't read any of the books, but I'm going to buy some books. Either way, he says that there's like they cover like 300 or 400 cases in a book, you know,
Yeah.
or like 200 to 300 cases in a book. Um, so it's not like the movies where it focuses on like six and then you're done. Um,
Yeah. Buy my book for more information.
that's true. However, I will say if you're going to buy the books, buy them from his website and not Amazon, because apparently the Amazon website or the Amazon books, the books of his that are on Amazon are super expensive, and that's because people buy them from him and then charge a ridiculous markup. Um, that's what everybody says, at least. I have not looked
Yeah,
into it.
so his site, I think I linked it earlier, which is oh wait, no. This is North American Bigfoot Search, but there's information about David Paulides on here.
Of course, there
So
is.
because he's part of this Bigfoot search.
Yes,
Let's see if I can find his actual site.
you might be able to do it from the missing 411. Uh, yeah, you can just buy it from the NABigfootSearch.com. Apparently,
I think yeah, he's
that might
I
be
guess
his.
he I think it is. I
So
think it is.
it might be.
Cuz He wrote a book about Bigfoot as well. So I guess if any of you guys want to hear his theories on Bigfoot, you can also
I'll have
purchase
to look
that.
into that because
Maybe he offers bulk deals if you buy all of his books.
maybe
You get a special price.
I'll have to look into it.
Oh yeah, there's way more 411 books than I thought. I guess I was listening to outdated podcasts because at that time he only had 2 books out.
Yeah, he's got like a lot. And I think the one that would be interesting is the I I guess he doesn't have a book about it. Oh well. He does have an interview where he talks about urban missing 411 cases, which I think that would be a little bit harder to explain away than just
Yeah. So okay, interesting.
I'll have to look
Because
into that
yeah,
one. I'm not
I
saying that it's good because I haven't listened to it yet, but I'll listen to it and I'll let you know. I'll,
I would be interested to see if he could create a similar map and then like which cities
exactly,
have the
exactly.
highest concentration of, but like, is there similar criteria
I don't
to the
know. I haven't listened to it yet. Come on,
hmm.
come on, Biscuit.
I have so many questions. I'm just very, very intrigued by
You know
this.
what? We can always come back to this at a later podcast, later stream.
We could a revisit of our first conspiracy theory and what sort of updates have happened.
That's true. We could do that. It all depends on what kind of information I find.
Okay, I'd be totally up for that.
Okay. Um, Other than that, I have nothing else.
No, I think we covered a lot of it. If you guys do your own research again and find anything interesting, definitely let us know.
Yep.
I know Tin Man's been entrenched in all of this information, but
I am
um,
in it. I am
but
in it.
yeah, if you guys find anything else,
Yeah.
definitely let us know.
Either let us know. You can either, if you're on Discord, you can either ping me or Biscuit directly. You can also hit us up on the brand new TinBiscuit Reviews Twitter at TinBiscuitR,
Yep.
and or if you would be so inclined, like that at TinBiscuitR. Um, if you have, like I said, if you have ideas for movies to review or conspiracy theories you want to hear us talk about, get our thoughts on it, there is the Tin Biscuit Reviews email account is open. It's just tinbiscuitreviews at gmail.com. Let us know, and we'll find a time to get it on the show.
Yep. I would love to have you guys recommend some conspiracy theories.
Yeah, me too.
I actually don't know of like that many besides the super obvious ones, like anything cryptid related or flat earth or like I don't know. I felt like I knew more conspiracy theories than I actually do. So
Oh,
I would I would welcome any recommendations from you
there
guys.
is a lot out there that are just
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
I'm sure.
so real quick, all right, I really don't want to devote a whole section to Bigfoot, right? I really don't. If you want to, we can, and we can hold off on our thoughts on it. Um, that's up to you.
There's a Bigfoot museum nearby where I live, like about an hour away. And I actually passed by it this weekend and I was tempted to go in, but I did not. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Bigfoot. I love cryptid stories and information. Like that's my conspiracy theory niche. Well, I
Hmm.
don't know if you could call cryptids a conspiracy theory,
I
but
would. Yeah, I
that's
would.
like that's my niche. And Bigfoot just never was really that interesting to me. I'm happy to do it if other people would like to have us discuss Bigfoot. But I'm kind of on the same page as you. Is that I feel like Bigfoot is kind of vanilla.
I do. I want to say one thing about Bigfoot real quick.
Yes.
I think that much in the same vein of aliens, I think we're pretty pompous to think that there's nothing out there that we haven't discovered yet.
Well,
And
yeah, they're still discovering new things in the ocean every
and
single
it
day.
it gets brought up to me every time I bring up Bigfoot. Every time I bring it up, they're like, "Well, do you think we would have found it yet?" Like, not really. If this thing's devoted its entire life to being hidden, I'm pretty sure it's pretty good at it by now. Just saying. Not saying
A
I believe in
professional
it.
hider.
Not saying I believe in it. I'm just saying, to me, it's plausible. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying about it.
We, speaking of aliens, we have a big opportunity to talk about aliens and the recent Area 51 explosion.
There was an explosion at Area 51.
Well, no, not explosion.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, what happened?
No, I mean the popularity explosion of
Uh,
all of the Area 51 memes.
look, all right, here, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for this. All right, nothing is at Area 51. Nothing, because all the crazy stuff is at Area 52. And you think I'm joking? You think I'm joking, but I'm really not. There is legitimately an Area 52. Like there
It's
is.
just a decoy. Area 51 is just a decoy.
But here's the thing: you can take tours of Area 51.
How? What?
You can,
Really?
yeah, you can like set up a tour to go on a tour of Area 51. They're not just gonna let you walk up to the door like, "Hey guys, hey, how's it going? I'm here for the tour." No, it has to be like a big group. But yeah, you can have a tour of Area 51 because they moved all the crazy stuff down the road like 6 miles to Area 52.
Area.
Also, let me just say, if your idea of let's storm Area 51, right? If that's your idea, why are you letting them know like 3 months in advance? Like, why? Why would you do
Even
that?
if they know, they can't stop us all.
Yes, they can. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, they can't. You know what will? The machine gun. Like the machine gun that they're gonna fire at you.
Not if you Naruto run.
Oh, okay. Not if you're One Punch Man.
We might. I don't know if we're gonna do that or not, but I think we could have some fun with it.
Oh
So
yeah, we could
maybe
definitely have some fun with it.
that. All right.
Anyways,
Well, in terms of missing 411, I think we have covered a lot of good information. If you guys find anything, definitely send it over.
yes.
Tin Man posted the Twitter handle. And I don't know, is there anything else we're missing? Anything else we need to cover?
If you haven't already, you can, and you came in late or whatever, you want to catch up. The TinBiscuit podcast is up and running. Like I said, you can check it out on iTunes, Google Podcast, Google Play, Music, everything. It's just TinBiscuit reviews, and it'll pop up. That's all I got.
And I want to thank Tin Man because he set all of that up, and it's awesome.
Because I'm a superhero.
And I'm super happy.
I'm actually an alien.
It's really cool. He's all of his alien skills to create these podcasts.
That's what I did. It's so it's so hard to take the audio from a video and put it up online.
Well, I appreciate it. I think you did a good job.
Well,
so thank you.
I appreciate that.
All right, cool. Well, our next stream will be in 2 weeks. So this will be a regular thing, barring any unforeseen circumstances, every other Tuesday. And I guess whenever we find out what our next topic is, we will post it on social media and let you guys know so that you can get hyped for that.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Tin Man. It has been a pleasure, as always.
Always.
And I'm excited for our next one.
Yep, me too.
All right, cool. Well, have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.